Good morning, good evening, good afternoon from wherever you're watching the world. This is Mike with the Suncoast Local Business Spotlight. We are in Englewood again, and we're with another local business owner, Jared. He's in the insurance field, so he's going to introduce himself, his company, what he does for the community, and he has taken the liberty of getting the top questions that people ask. So if you have something about insurance, maybe we'll answer it here. If not, you can give him a call directly. So, Jared, thanks for being on the show today.
Not a problem. Thanks for having me.
So, what is your business, and tell us who you are?
My name is Jared Clary, and I'm with Wampler Varner Insurance Group, and it is the health, life, and annuity business. We cover health insurance, life insurance, Medicare, employee benefits, long-term care, kind of everything in the personal insurance business type. But we've been in business for 40 years in town, and we've been insuring a lot of businesses locally, and that's about it.
40 years. That's a long time. So that's one of those legacy businesses. Do you know the family personally, or are you related to the family?
I am not personally related, but I've known Jonathan and Dave now for about 2 years. Got in with them about a year and a half ago. Been with the business, and ever since been growing relationships in the town. I'm a Leadership 2025 graduate, so started building those relationships in here locally, and moved here 20 years ago. I'm originally from Massachusetts, but been in town since. Went away to college and ended up back.
Okay, I didn't know you're Massachusetts. Your English is perfect.
Yeah,
So that's some.
my family's a different story.
Okay, if you know you're in Englewood, even as Southwest Florida, you got a lot of people still from that Connecticut up to Maine, and they
Yeah.
still sound like they just got here, even though they've been here for 20, 30 years. So what made you get into this industry?
So after college, played baseball. COVID came up
Okay.
and didn't really know what to do, along with a lot of people. And a family friend was in the insurance industry, mentioned it to me, kind of started doing some research, started taking my testing for my 0 to 15 insurance license. And 2020, got the license, couldn't take the test because it got closed down due to COVID. Fast forward, I ended up getting it about 2 years ago and found Jonathan and Dave here locally and got a good opportunity.
Okay, I heard you say the licensing. So I didn't understand that. Most people don't think it's a licensed industry. You can just kind of be like a salesperson. Did you understand the licensing and any schooling you have to do and what makes you different than a typical, maybe something going online and buying insurance?
Yeah, so we have to go through a pre-course, which is an online kind of schooling, which it's multiple hours, a lot of studying, very difficult. Have to read, have to take tests on. If you don't get a certain score, then you don't pass. Once you pass the pre-course, then you have to go and take a state test at a testing location to where you got to score 70 or better, or you don't pass.
Did you get to 71?
I did.
Yeah. Okay, so that's really important to know because this is not just a typical sales job. You can't just say, I'm going to sell insurance. You actually have to go to school and get licensed. So that's really good to know there. Can you tell us about your typical client who you like to work with specifically, whether that be a new family, someone with kids, or maybe in our community, we have a lot of our seniors and people moving into retirement. So who do you like to work with and why?
So it varies. We see all walks of life. We go from new families, high school students, college kids, the whole nine. The good thing about our company is we're a one stop shop. We can deal with you at 18 years old and we can transfer you onto Medicare when you turn 65.
Okay.
And so that helps a lot, especially, in the Medicare field side of things. It's very difficult for a lot of 65-year-olds transitioning on. Very difficult way to navigate through the Medicare with everyone calling you, everyone's trying to sell you, you have people knocking on your door, and we offer free in-house education for our clients to educate them about Medicare, teach them the ins and outs, and make that transition as smooth as possible, as well as, life insurance, long-term care, annuities, whatever the case would be. We are the people for that.
It sounds like they've been here 40 years. So I guess that goes back to we can get you from young adult all the way through retirement. So what's the first conversation I should have with you as maybe an 18-year-old or maybe a 25-year-old just out of college?
Yeah, so typically how it works for the younger individual, it starts with health insurance. As you start transitioning out of your parents' house and getting kicked off your parents' plan, which you could be on till 26, but most people who start their own lives get married. You can't be on your parents' plan anymore if you get married, have kids, you need insurance for them as well. And so typically from 18 to 25, we deal with a lot of health insurance coverage and then even some life insurance coverage when you're starting to buy houses, have families of your own, things of that nature. So that's typically where it begins.
Do you think it's more cost effective for me to just pay cash out of my own pocket or to get on a health insurance plan?
I wouldn't recommend going out of pocket because when it comes to the emergency services, your typical hospital
All right,
visits,
yeah.
stuff like that, these places can charge you thousands of dollars with no repercussions, anything like that. With your health coverage, it limits costs and even with it covers preventative care. So that limits out of pocket as much as you can.
Yeah, it seems like that's the thing that usually bankrupt families the fastest is like one major medical issue, and
That
then
is
you're done.
spot on.
So I want to go over a couple of questions that you get. It looks like the number one question you get is it true that pre-existing conditions aren't covered by any health insurance? So we want to take care of that. How popular is that question since it's number one on the list?
It is very popular because things have changed throughout the insurance field. And it used to be true, but with the Affordable Care Act, that changed everything. And that insurance companies can no longer deny you or charge you more
Okay.
for pre existing conditions on most plans.
And you have to disclose the pre-existing condition, or maybe you didn't find out about it.
You don't have to anymore. It's what they say by pre existing conditions would be, say, a surgery you know is coming up.
Okay.
Cancer, unfortunately, is one of those pre existing or anything major medically like that, which nowadays they can't deny you or charge you more if you do have a pre
I just think as a consumer, I think that actually helps me because maybe I will go to the doctor sooner. I will get these things uncovered and disclosed. If they know some people believe they have something wrong with them, but like, no, I got a new job. I'm not going to say anything because that's pre-existing. So this
Exactly.
actually might help people stay healthier in the long run.
It does, and it eliminates the reason to put things off.
Yeah, and I know also people think that insurance is too expensive. Let's go over the life insurance is too expensive question that always pops up.
Yeah, so that's not typically true. When you're young and healthy, that's the time where you should really jump on it because premiums are real minimal. We're talking like streaming service level of price. And so if you lock in at a young age when you're healthy, and then you can lock into a 20, 30, even sometimes a 40-year term that can last you through your child, going to college, covering that mortgage just in case if you have a family, anything like that, income replacement is what a big thing, or even guaranteed universal life, which it's guaranteed for your whole life. You can lock in at a lower rate.
Actually, I like what you said, the streaming service. I think you should actually use that as part of your
Yeah.
branding. So you could people stream even
Yeah.
cloud service. You're talking $10 to $30 a month. So even some of the things I have software is $40, $50 a month. So let's say I exchange my $50 streaming service for a health insurance or an insurance. Is that something that's feasible? $50 a month forever?
Very feasible, especially in your low 20s for a 30-year term, depending on how much, you're typically in that $25 to $50 range.
Okay, that sounds great. And then typically in your 20s, that's when you do the most stupid things. And
Exactly.
I don't know. I just think as growing up around the jackass era, that I think 20-year-olds are at more risk than my 50 to 70-year-olds because we're not driving 100 miles an hour. We're just hurts to get up sometimes in the morning.
Very true. And a lot of young families lock in for children, buying houses, covered mortgages, getting through in case something was to happen while your kids are still in the house.
Okay, now in the beginning, you said you had a list of things that your company covers. Could you just talk about the main one that you personally like to either sell or educate about, and then how we get to that?
Yeah, personally, what I focus on here is health insurance, Medicare, and life insurance.
Is that all in one bundle, or is that three separate
It's
items?
three separate items.
Okay.
So all of our items typically have different ways to go about it. It's, health insurance would be one way, Medicare would be the other way, life insurance, long term care, employee benefits. We have a bunch of different divisions. Health insurance would be ancillary, dental, vision, things of that nature would fall into their accident plans, stuff like that. But other than that, Medicare, we help with prescription drug plans, which for people who are 65 and Medicare age have a tough time with as well. And we help with that as well.
Sounds good. I know we're kind of in a gig economy now where everyone has a side hustle. And unfortunately, the news is saying that 2 to 3 years is the typical long term job market right now.
Mhm.
So, as an individual that may be either job jumping or doing a gig economy, what would you recommend they do? And should they just stay with that forever? Or if they do get a job for 1 to 3 years, should they jump on a company plan?
So it's a yes or no question. It's a kind of varies. If you're jumping from company to company, sometimes they don't offer benefits. And if they don't offer benefits, you are eligible to get a marketplace plan directly through Florida Blue and you can get that government subsidy if your income falls below the threshold. But if you do go from plan to plan, from company to company, then if once you leave that company, that opens a special enrollment period. So you can jump on an individual plan at any time after that. And that's a big misconception in the industry is special enrollments. You can get health insurance anytime during the year with a qualifying event.
But I believe it was a child and marriage. Is those one of the two special events?
Correct.
Do you have any
Yes.
other special events that you know of?
Childbirth,
Okay.
getting married, moving, even
Okay.
moving zip codes.
Really? Okay, that's a good tip to know.
Yeah, and losing employee benefits or losing coverage elsewhere. So if you move from a different state and your coverage expires, I've seen that before. That would be a qualifying event as well.
That sounds great. So, any other thing you want to tell our listening audience about any one of those services and what they need to do to learn?
So what I would recommend is reaching out. We are available Monday through Friday and through email, anywhere, text, call, and schedule an appointment. And I'd love to dig deep and talk a little more and educate.
Yeah. Can you tell us about any events that your team runs, either like lunch and learn style or maybe something virtual event that they can jump on to learn? Do you do those right now?
Yes, so we do host events, educational events. Typically, it'll vary. So sometimes it'll be Medicare, long-term care. We'll pick kind of a space and jump on that, and that will be coming soon. And we do advertise through Facebook, social media. We are a chamber member, so chamber, we are very involved in all chamber events as well.
Okay, last question. Is your license locked specifically and only to the state you live in or work in?
Correct.
Okay,
It's
so
only for the state of Florida.
Okay, so you have to have your Florida ID to work with this company.
Correct.
Okay, so that sounds good.
You can be from out of state, but you have to have a Florida address.
Okay.
Yeah.
That helps out.
So we do have some, part timers who split from up north to here, and as long as you have a Florida zip code and address, then we can supply you.
Gotcha. Now, they have to get one from their home state also?
No, if there are plans that, especially Medicare, in most Medicare cases, you can use it anywhere in the United States if you're on the correct plan.
That's good to know.
And especially in health insurance, you can have a PPO plan that is available to use out of state as well.
Okay, now you said PPO. Let's go to some of these acronyms. I know there's the PPO, and then what's the other one?
EPO.
EPO. So
HMO.
Okay, why don't you go through those three acronyms? This will be a really good clip for later. So I know people hear these terms and they have no idea what they even stand for. So go to your three.
Yeah, so the two main ones is PPO and HMO.
Yes, what does PPO stand for and what does it mean?
PPO is the broadest network you can go to where you don't need a referral. You have in and out of state coverage. HMO, you need a referral from your doctor to go to a certain specialist, things of that nature, and you are kind of restricted to your current state.
All right, sounds good. So give us one piece of advice for our listening audience and we'll end our episode.
One piece of advice I would say is don't put these things off. Get it right away because you never know when something's going to happen. I see people every single day who wait and then it is out of the open enrollment space to get health coverage and they don't have a qualifying event to get the coverage they need for unforeseen events. And life insurance as well. I have people who put off life insurance all the time who are not healthy enough to get approved when the time comes and their health is not great and the price skyrockets and sometimes you get denied.
So take that advice. Give us your contact information, and then we'll end our show.
My contact information is our number 941-473-7100. And my email address is Jared, JARYD, @WamplerINS.com.
I appreciate it. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.